Ladies and gentlemen, NMP PCH HayaBusa, the old and new SISM world champion. Congratulations. Thank you so much for taking the time. I assume that you are still in Hungary at the moment.
That is correct.
So award ceremony and all that is behind you now, or is it still coming?
Yeah, the award ceremony for the individual individual disciplines and the individual medals was this morning. So we got the medal already, and like the big overall medal ceremony will be held on Friday.
Okay. The trophy medals, did you bring it? Can you show us? Can you show them off here live on NSL TV?
It's in the, yeah.
Okay, well, maybe later. Well, let's talk. The precious Zoom time is probably more important than trying to find the trophies and the medals now. We are only getting our 40 minutes as usual. And congratulations again, oh my, you kept the audience on their toes. And there was a lot of people were following that. I know, I gave it more priority this time, probably more than I've done in the past. In all the earlier years, I didn't really pay too much attention to the military world championships, but it kept increasing. And this year, also because it was so exciting. So you tell us the whole story. It was a roller coaster. The audience was on the toes. David, maybe you should start because you won your 16th gold medal. Is that correct? You have that correct medal count?
I think if you have to count all the military world championships, then I guess it's 14. But I think if you also count the military tournaments, then that's a total of 16, yes.
16 since 2007,
yeah.
When the team won the first one. Yeah, there were a few embedded in mondials, military mondials or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have a World Games every 4 years, and the parachuting is included. For us, we treat it as a world championship, but the medal is a little bit different. It's a world game medal instead of a world championship medal, but the title is quite the same. It's just a title of the tournaments. I'm not quite sure if I can count them as a world championship title. So for me, my standing, I would say my count stops at 14. What is still impressive, I believe.
Yeah, you can say so. 16 times. I think that is very impressive. Only once, though, you had to work as hard as at this one. Is that correct? Only once in 2007, the very first one, which was as competitive as this one. So did you remember this kind of, that in 2007 with the Golden Knights challenging you to the extreme? Did this come back in your mind when you were fighting the Golden Knights, when you were 1 point behind? That was after round 5, right?
Correct. No, I mean, it's always been on my mind because the system always was for us a little bit like an in-between meet. We always treated it a little bit like we had to do it. And we never got that ultimate fight again against the Golden Knights during any season meet because either they never came or the level was so far ahead. We were so far ahead that we never got the opportunity to fight that close. But I can still remember vividly that the World Championship or the World Games in 2007 was a little bit as a roller coaster as it is right now. Because back in the days, we never knew quite well how fast the season draw was and is. And if you are a team that actually trains on it, then you can get an advantage of any other team. And we got a little bit shocked that it can go that fast. And I think luckily we treated 2024 to perform on our best and tried to win here. Although, and you also already said and mentioned that the Golden Knights would have been very strong and we had to pay attention, not only Qatar and the Golden Knights. We knew that in the back of our minds, but we're super happy that the Golden Knights were here to push us to that limit.
Did you, I mean, we talked about this before, yeah, but the Golden Knights came in as a, you know, as a serious contender and challenger pretty late in the game. We all didn't really know it for that long. We knew the Qatar Tigers would be there, and we knew that the Qatar Tigers would be eager to beat you, no doubt about that, because if not now, whenever, you know, will it come back up for them? Well, it will come back up later again this year. So we'll talk about this later. But did you expect that the Golden Knights would be as strong as they were here when, you know, when the competition began?
Well, but I also
Let's ask somebody else now. Okay,
Yeah,
let's ask Dennis. So Dennis, give us your take on that.
Well, we knew coming here that we would have a fight on our hands, considering the amount of time that we trained with this lineup. You know, Dave stepping back in, the switching of slots and all that stuff. It is not even though you bring an old member in and he's a multiple time world champion, we're switching up slots and it's not the same as it is as it was before. So we knew we had we were not the strongest here, and what the Golden Knights have been able to show against airspeed we knew that they could be competitive as well. Like you said, the Tigers, that was for sure in the back of our minds. And then slowly but surely, the Golden Knights were also starting to creep up there. This was definitely not a guarantee of a win here.
Yeah. Dennis, just to make sure, you know, for the audience knows that too, Dennis was second here now because you are the official team captain now, right? For at this point in time, David is only a substitute videographer only. We're going to talk about video in a moment, you know, because video played some kind of a role on, you know, in this whole competition as well. But let's also congratulate first Neil. That's your first world championship title now. It doesn't matter whether it's FAI or CISM or whatever. You went through hell at this meet here now. Yeah, it was a roller coaster, not only for the team, but especially for you. You must be extremely happy. I mean,
yes, we all are happy that we won, and I'm not the one that break the streak of winning all the CISM world titles of this team. Yeah, about that. But we knew it immediately after round one that it would be a close battle, because the top three were within 2 or 3 points of each other. We were standing in second, so we knew that it could be first or third. So we knew it already before the competition, but that was like a confirmation from, okay, we know where we need to fight for. And
it was a lot of pressure. It's again, I'm impressed, and not only, you know, we know difficult enough, and if you are in a 1-point battle, you know, after round 5 or so, you have been there before, we have been there before, but there was more to it, you know. One thing that was more to it, you, Neil, you were not in your trained A slot, you were in your B slot, and you know, at the CISM World Championship, as David, you know, was the only person in the whole team actually in the A slot of the last 16 years, and everybody else was in a different slot. Everybody else. So how did you prepare yourself? I mean, you were training Neil. I'm still talking to Neil actually, because to me it's one of the most impressive things. So, you know, in the meet, how you mastered that incredible battle. How did you prepare yourself for that? I know you were training in the you know, A/B slots for a while, but there's more to it. That amount of pressure doesn't come to you every day.
yeah, but first of all, we also need to know it's only 1 exit and 8 blocks, so that makes it a little bit easier to go to another slot. That you don't need to do all the exits.
Good point.
All 22 blocks. So it's less amount of different things, makes it a little bit easier. And then it was, I've been in all those blocks already in my B-slot. I've done it, I've seen it, but not as detailed as this and as fast as this, because all the jumps are so fast that you don't want to make the hiccups over there.
You cannot afford a hiccup now.
Yeah, when I find my inside center slot on the FAI jumps, yeah, in the whole competition I do maybe 8 pages max in my B slot. So it's not so important. You need to be good, but not perfect. And now it needed to be perfect to perform during this competition.
Yeah, plus there are 2 teams who are just waiting, you know, for a hiccup or for a flaw, and so they're not only being on that pace, but you have to be flawless. I mean, you know, as much as you can. And they found those judges, they're probably judging in a different way. They find things, I mean, that it was difficult to see and to find. I remember there was one, I think it was the Qatar Tigers on the 21, where at the very, I mean, nobody would see that. How did a judge detect this by coincidence or whatever, you know, that this little grip, I mean, it is not visible for anybody. Dennis,
Yeah.
you're nodding, you agree with, and that's
because it came up before, also for the Tigers in
Eloy on 21.
Yeah, where they started seeing this happening, where you in a block 20 or in a block 1, where when you spin the side body, you know, when the grip is sliding, when you want to, you know, when you compress it and then you want to finish it, and then to finish it, you make it big and they roll their hand. The judges are correct. It's not a static grip.
Yeah, I agree. I had to look so carefully to see what they're actually busting there.
Yeah. So, and also once the judges see that and they know this team has that habit, then they know this in the back of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, your eyes need to fall on it for sure, as you say. But once they're gonna be looking for it because it's probably also a habit then.
Yeah, and it's a you know, we are not having so like the basketball judges or soccer, they do that every week. They see that all the time, so they are so familiar with what could happen. We don't, you know, we have a CISM competition once a year or other bigger competitions once or twice a year.
Yeah,
so it's much more difficult.
And also as us, when we look at the French or Airspeed or Qatar or whoever, and you look at them a lot, you kind of start to know them a little bit, you know, and what they do and what their habits are, how they do stuff. So I'm pretty sure the judges will have that as well. They'll see HayaBusa and they'll know, like, okay, these guys, we have to watch for this and this, and I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same as how we would analyze videos of our competitors.
Yeah, and yeah, they can look at the videos at least all year long, basically. No, it's not a live event like a soccer game or a basketball game or whatever. So you have the rules, you know, the 8 blocks. There's a dive pool of only 8 blocks, the CISM dive pool. You just don't know in which order the randoms are being drawn together. Okay. So it's not the whole dive pool, actually. Well, that's a good point. I wasn't aware of that. I'm not following the rules. Well, it's good to know that. So maybe the clarification there will be helpful for the audience.
The jumps may look easier, but every jump, when you have like a hiccup or you lose a second here or there, that might mean that you lose 5 points because there's like a quick arrival block and a quick random set behind. So you have to be on your toes. You have to be mentally sharp every jump, because it can swap so fast if you have like a little hiccup. Like the scores, they are very unforgiving. Although the jumps can roll very fast, the scores can be high, but that's also an added pressure every jump.
And then there's the video. You know, I mean, you're jumping from a helicopter there. I did not see any videographer who could capture the exit in the subterminal like they do it from a twin, or, you know, from a side door. Nobody had, you know, so that's challenging enough. And I think this is one of the traps that the Qatar Tigers fell in, right? The story of
yeah, so there's the wind speed, which is a lot lower compared to an airplane. And they were flying probably slower as well, because you have like a big wheel well like sticking out really next to the door. So it's very tight. On the training jump, we actually hit it a couple of times, not very hard, but you really have to pay attention to that. And standing outside as a video, it's doable, but it's really hard to keep everything in frame and be on top within the 5 seconds.
So that's the trap kind of that I'm calling the trap, that the Qatar Tigers were apparently not aware of that, you know, that the camera flyer has to be in place. You get no points without the video. You know, we know that now, even in, you know, in FAI, IC events, so we know without a videographer, a team is worthless, because if you don't have the evidence. So they didn't wait long enough, basically, right? They started a little early. Well, how did you evaluate that? How do you see that?
I think Dave should take credit for this plan, because I didn't honestly think about it that much, but he looked at the helicopter, and you know, he knew the wind speed that they were going to drop at because of the side pod that they had. So our mastermind came up with a plan.
So basically, very early, we knew what type of helicopter it was. It was a Super Puma, the H225. And first of all, it's very difficult to train it. Only a few countries have that helicopter. So I've been like listening around to teams that were able to train it. And then I actually asked them how their cameraman would exit. And I heard a couple of like, we would float, but it's not as good as, for example, diving after. And I asked the Brazilian team, I asked the German team. I even asked the German team to have the helicopter again so that they could train it and then show me the evidence of the video. And it was super clear for me that following from the outside with 60 knots of airspeed would have been so difficult. So months and months in advance of training already, I knew that I had to speak with Koen, our videographer, to make sure that he, yes, first from the outside airspeed from a plane, that was okay, but then from a Cessna Caravan or just from the inside, following us, making sure that within the 5 seconds we would see the star. And so we have been planning for that, and strategically, of course, keeping our mouth shut towards our opponents. But it's, of course, it's
part of it.
Yeah, it's you do the research, and then eventually you have an advantage, yes or no. And I think regarding the Knights, I think they had a fantastic videographer with them, and I think he could pull it off. And I think Qatar had a surprise, and yeah, it was, you know, sadly for him, because I mean, I feel for the guy, but it was not as good as what I think they would have expected. But the 60 knots airspeed, it is a trap. You fall, you want to film, but eventually you get a scorpion kick, and it basically almost kicks you or makes you flip. And if then the distance between the cameraman and the team is so far ahead, like so steep, you can never show it on video. So it's trusting the camera, trusting the speed, trusting the door, trusting the team. Everything needs to fall and come together. And even for us, I mean, there was a jump with, I think, was it the 17, where Koen was on the limit of tipping over, and we couldn't, I think we couldn't keep the star within the 5 seconds, because Koen was not 100% balanced yet. So we had to wait till Koen was 100%, okay, he's on the wind. And I think we broke the star at 6. I can be wrong, 6.5 maybe, but definitely not within the 5 seconds. And yeah, the thing is, if I maybe explain as well, if, for example, you key the star, but it was not on the tape, on the video, then the working time starts from the moment that you leave the aircraft.
Oui.
Yes, so you rather wait until the star is in the screen and then start, or if you started that when it was not in the screen, then they actually go back to the exit, and then you lose maybe 7 or 8 seconds instead of 2 or 3. So that's the biggest penalty that you can have, is actually working or start your star when you're not sure that your cameraman has you on the video.
Yeah. Well, so those 5, that's where the 5-second thing is actually coming from, because the aircraft, military aircraft, is, it's not a twin otter. And so how do you communicate this? I mean, are you literally looking at Cone and saying, okay, are you ready? Yes, we are ready. And then well, that's an additional factor of distraction at the same time too.
Of course, I mean, you go out of the slow, like the airspeed is already very slow. So you go out, you need to balance the team. In the meanwhile, you have to check the cameraman. Is he ready? Yes or no? Because you can see in the whiteness of his eyes that he's ready. And then you have communication with the team to tell, okay, ready to go. But in all fairness, I also have to say, I mean, it's common sense that everybody thinks that we need to exit the star, but eventually you can exit whatever you want, as long as your first start information is a star within the first 5 seconds. So you can exit a bow, you can exit a side body, you can exit a caterpillar if you like, as long as your first information is a star. So
random formation R, huh? Still in the dive ball. That's funny. That's a caterpillar. I'm making fun of that now. So we don't have that in our dive ball.
Yeah.
Well, so now we are switching again. We are switching. Bob, are you sad to give up your point? Did you feel now like point is the coolest slot, and giving it to Ray now is just not fair? Or
was my honest answer, or it was very nice to be able to fly the point slot, to also take the title in the point slot, but I think we can all agree I'm not really made for that slot.
How do you say that?
I knew at the beginning of training, like the out-facing stuff for sure was not really my thing. I didn't really like it. It showed also in the competition a couple times. So I'm happy to be back with Neil in the back. Maybe fine-tuning, tweaking what I know best, what I am able to do best. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the training. I enjoyed, of course, the competition. But I think this guy next to me, that's going to be a way better point in the future than I can be.
Well, after seeing everything for thousands of jumps right in front of you, it is probably, I can imagine it must be weird. Then all of a sudden everything happens behind you there somehow.
Yeah, for sure.
Even a multi-world champion probably has to deal with that somehow. Your visuals are so engraved in your system.
Yeah, exactly. The brain has to follow. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
You need the repetitions in training to really be able to go full out. So, and you were lacking that, of course, a bit.
I can imagine that if I was kind of visualizing this, somehow to get kind of a feeling for that, but I can imagine that whenever the 15 comes as a random formation, when you break the 15, your whole body wants to go into turning on place, right? I mean, that's what you're used to, and then you have to force. And then you mastered that, and that came in the last round where everything was kind of, on the, hanging in, that was the most important round, obviously.
Yeah.
And there comes that cat, as a random formation, and the phalanx. So that was pretty brave to engineer. Have you done the similar engineerings with a cat as a first or last formation of the block? And then
we cannot disclose
that. Come on. I'm not going to tell anybody. So that was pretty creative engineering there, and it worked obviously out very nicely. Who came up?
With the cue, you mean? The
Yeah.
cue that did the different, yeah. With that cue, it's not foreign to us, that one.
Yeah, well, I would imagine you wouldn't do that in the last round of a competition, probably when there is a 1 point. I don't know what the difference was.
No, I think we're not shy of. I mean, once the heat is on and you need to have a risk. If for example, if we would have been one down, and we needed to take a risk, we're not shy of taking risk. I think in the past I think we're pretty good in taking the risk if we need to. And even we went into the finals with 1 point in the lead, and yeah, it just felt so good. I mean, we've done it so many times already. I mean, yeah, it doesn't come up so easily, but once it comes up, I think it's a very strong random formation for us, that cue. So when it comes up, it's not so much of a risk, but if we need to take a risk, we will not be shy to do that. We just need to make sure that we have a certain flow within that jump, and we need to keep that flow flowing. So, but we're not shy of taking risks, not even this team. I think this team was so strong, even with the amount of training that we had. Some jumps were feeling so good that in a certain moment I was thinking by myself, hey, maybe I would like to take back my position.
I was just wondering about this, you know, don't you feel like
especially the first 2 rounds, I like round 2, I landed, I was like, hey, maybe I can come back. But that was
they wouldn't want you anymore now anyway, probably.
No, but that's good. That's good. They're just like, okay, we end this cycle right here and then just pass it on. And I'm happy with that. So future-wise, I think I mean, yes, there is going to be a lot of pressure on Ray. And I think for sure we will not be ready at the World Championship, and that's okay. And we would like to look more forward in the future. And it would be a very nice experience for him. Yeah, we have a long-term goal instead of 2024 and 2025. So I think HayaBusa can slowly grow now into what I would like to see as a machine, as it was in the past.
Yeah, I see that coming. Dennis, I get the warning here again. So we have probably whatever 5 minutes, 10 minutes again. I cannot believe they went by just like nothing again, but I still have a few questions, and I'm going to take a chance here. I don't have a timer actually.
10 minutes.
9 minutes? Oh yeah, there I see it, 9 minutes. Dennis, you are in your new slot, but actually you were you are in this new outside center slot for the FAI IC events and for the CISM events. For you, there wasn't really a big change, but the point changed. Now you were going back and forth between Ray and Bob now, and there's probably a significant difference. The tail all of a sudden they're in a point slot, and then Ray. You have been trained as a point from the get-go. You know only point and nothing else, right?
Yeah, that's true. This is actually it's the first year or the first time that I changed slots since ever. Because when I came up with Bob, I was training point. Obviously, in the front piece we switch quite a lot, so outside center is not foreign to me, but it has never been my A slot. I have always been point.
All right, well, and then Ray, last and not least, for sure, you must be so eager now to go into competition. You can't wait now to go to the World Championship. Did it feel like you were a part of this competition here now? And now when you go to the World Championship, you have already a kind of a high level experience behind you, even though you didn't jump?
Yeah, for me, it was a nice experience to be on the outside. It was nice to see how everything goes to work, and also to see the guys, how they handle the stress, how they prepare the jumps. Even for me, I also felt kind of stressed. So
yeah, I imagine, yeah.
It felt like one team. So I'm really looking forward to the next camp and also to the next competition to see how everything goes.
So did the pressure feel like that? I mean, the pressure felt like you're really making the jumps by yourself. Did you kind of even visualize maybe the point?
Yeah, exactly.
And you following? Okay.
Jumps, I also try to visualize the jumps in my head, so I could really feel like I'm in the competition myself.
Yeah. And when you watch Bob now, Bob was obviously not super excited about the slot and his own performance and all that kind of stuff. When you saw that, did you feel like oh, I can do that better actually than this format?
Yes, I can do better.
You should be able to do better. That's why we chose it.
Well, when I was watching the soccer European Cup, I'm sure you followed that too. You know, Belgium and Germany were both eliminated early, so they deserved it. But when I watched the Spanish team, what's his name? Yamal.
Yeah.
It reminded me so much on you, Ray. You know, are you following in the soccer game?
Yeah, soccer.
So we see some more Spain, but this guy, the goal that he shot yesterday, they are pretty amazing. And his age is what, 16 years? He will be 17 this weekend. You are 18 or 19?
20.
20? Okay, now you just turned 20. I remember that now, yeah. So pretty amazing. So and there is a like totally new generation compared to where Dave is coming from, and it must be extremely exciting for you now to go to the World Championship. What's a plan before that? Do we have nationals still in Belgium before any event? Yeah, I think we talked about this. Belgian nationals are coming, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. They're like 2 weeks. What is it? 2 weeks before?
No, first weekend of September is nationals. It's in Turgen together with the Dutch nationals. So it's a bigger competition, more teams to battle with. So that's nice.
So that fits actually quite nicely in your schedule, I would say, right? At least it's not a pressure competition, but it is a competition where you have to show where you are.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. I think we have only a few minutes left here now anyway. And I want to say thank you again for taking the time now. Afterwards, the official ceremony is coming up now. And we have already the pleasure to get some insights from you directly. And you can enjoy and enjoy the celebration. What are they doing at this like the big deal with the national anthems and all this kind of stuff?
Speeches, closing speeches, medals, anthems, the whole blah 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 for sure.
The whole
military parade, like what everybody likes when it's 38 degrees Celsius outdoor. Yeah.
Is it 38? Oh,
yeah. We're sweating so hard.
That's in Hungary.
Yeah. The summer here is nasty, I have to say. We're sitting from 6:30 till sometimes 7 o'clock in the evening, 6:30 in the morning till 7 o'clock in the evening in green tents, military tents, just cooking to wait to do a jump or not, depending on the wind or the clouds. But it was a tough battle.
No air conditioning.
Yeah, nowhere to hide under that sun.
Sounds like Florida, but actually not, because we have everybody has air condition all day long here now. The hot is the same, the temperatures are the same. All right, I gotta stop here now. Okay, well, thanks again, NMP PCH HayaBusa, 16 times season world championship world champion as a team, and David Growls as a person. Actually, congratulations again, and we'll talk soon again, hopefully.
Thank you, Kurt.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.